Peace be with you. What does God say about apostasy in the Quran? Apostasy is quote-unquote leaving Islam or disbelieving after believing, and some Muslims believe that this is punishable by death. They believe this because of some narrations or hadith attributed to Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. But I want to show what the Quran says, because ultimately the Quran is the best hadith. It is the most reliable narration, and it is also Furqan. It is the criterion between right and wrong, truth and lies. It is a way we can tell what's true and what isn't. Before I read the verses in question, I want to set the context, because you have to understand what the context is in order to understand the verses. Muslims have been chased away from their homes. They have been persecuted. They have been killed. They have been tortured simply because believing in God. So they ran away. They left. But these people pursued them, and now God gave them permission to defend themselves. So they are in a state of conflict, and they are being chased by people who want to harm them. Starting with the 88th verse in the 4th chapter of the Quran, Surah Nisa, or chapter called Women, God tells us, "What is the matter with you then, that you have become two parties about the hypocrites, while God has made them return for what they have earned?" So return to disbelief. "Do you wish to guide him whom God has caused to err? And whomsoever God causes to err, you will by no means find a way for him. They desire that you should disbelieve as they have disbelieved. So they desire that you should apostate as they have apostated, so that you might be all alike. Therefore do not take from among them friends until they fly their homes, until they run away from their homes in God's way." And that's why I laid out the context. "But if they turn back, then seize them and kill them wherever you find them, and do not take from among them a friend or a helper." So if we stop reading here, one can indeed believe that punishment for apostasy is death. But that's not the case. All you got to do is read the next two verses. In the next verse, God says, "Except those who reach a people between whom and you there is an alliance." So you can't harm them. So these people can apostate freely. "Or who come to you, their hearts shrinking from fighting you or fighting their own people." So if they don't want to fight you or them, if they want to be neutral and they want to be an apostate, you cannot harm them. "And if God had pleased, he would have given them power over you, so that they should have certainly fought you. Therefore, if they withdraw from you and do not fight you and offer you peace, then God has not given you a way against them." So if people want to apostate and they do not engage in war against you, then you can't harm them. God has not given you a way against them. Consider this. In non-Islamic conflicts, right? If a person deserts and goes to the enemy, that they will be killed. This is not something new. This is not a novel idea. But moreover, if you are engaged in that kind of warfare, you can't be neutral, because they will draft you and send you to war. And look at what's happened in Ukraine. But God gives an option to people to be neutral and be safe. And then it says, next verse, verse 91, "You will find others who desire that they should be safe from you and secure from their own people. As often as they are sent back to the mischief, they get thrown into it headlong. Therefore, if they do not withdraw from you and offer you peace and restrain their hands," so if they don't stop attacking you, "then seize them and kill them wherever you find them. And against these we have given you a clear authority." So this is what Quran says about apostasy. You have to also understand that God, throughout the Quran, God says that people are free to believe whatever they want. For example, in the 10th chapter of the Quran, verse 99, God says, "If God had willed, all the people in the earth would believe. Are you going to force people to be believers?" Also, in the 2nd chapter of the Quran, verse 256, God says that there is no compulsion in religion. The only time you can harm an apostate is if a person deserts and then they decide to fight you. It's got nothing to do with choosing to just simply disbelieve and go live their life. These people, God said in the Quran, we have no way against them. Just let them be. This is the correct guidance. This is what the Quran says. So if you are one of those people who think that simply because a person decides to disbelieve after believing, that all of a sudden they are fair game and that you can harm them, then I'm sorry to say, but you are terribly misguided. And you need to really reassess where your beliefs come from. The Quran is the best narration. It is the best hadith. And whatever contradicts it is not acceptable. Peace be with you.